Hey, welcome back to RWBY Review. We just finished watching episode 2 of Volume 6, um, which was, for once, loaded with content for a second episode. Not loaded, but had more story bits in it than I think they've done in previous volumes,
Yeah.
which is pretty exciting. And I think we should just dive right in. Um, the only thing I want to cover real quick is Bill, as you may or may not be able to tell, is phoning in through Skype today because work.
Yep.
So, hi, Bill.
Work has me halfway across the country.
Yeah. But we wanted to really make this anyway, so here we are.
Yeah, it'd be real. It would not be great to start a new series and then miss the second week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's really, really in bad taste.
Plus having to avoid the spoilers that happened in between waiting to record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which for Bill's probably a lot easier than it is for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's. I don't really follow any RWBY content, so
yeah.
I have coworkers though that would.
And we have a friend
And yes.
who amazingly, like a couple days after we recorded last time, put out a group text, and he was like, "Hey, so the first episode of the new volume of RWBY is actually pretty good." And we were like, "Yeah,
and
Before you.
just to dive right in, I would like to say I think this episode maintained that. If
Yeah.
not, was even better. Like
yeah, I
As-
agree."
especially by the end of it, if like for the first time, I've never really because again, I only started watching it as it came out with Volume 4. I've never gotten to an end of an episode and was like, oh man, I can't wait for the next episode. That's how I
Yeah,
felt
like-
at the end of this one.
Yeah, no, it was very good.
Yeah, because even you said it's like, and it's gonna stop right here. I'm like, no, it's. Damn it! They did it again.
It's like, nah, aw.
After how many episodes do you think I'd have caught on by now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I get it, I do. Real quick though, because we actually took a couple notes this time, which maybe next time they'll leave me more. If they keep it up on this pace, I will probably start actually taking notes.
Well, yeah, they did discuss a lot too.
Yeah.
And also.
So
jumpy.
as we started back in and we had the trailer again, the opening. We were talking about the woman in the cloak, the hood.
Yep, completely wrong about
And Scott, oh yeah, completely. All of us were wrong. It was great, but Scott had a good point where he was like, I wonder if it's Cinder because he watched it again with his nephew yesterday on a larger platform.
Yeah, well, because it came out for free view on
yeah,
YouTube or Rooster Teeth, so we watched it last night. And when you see the scene with her fighting in the tavern-like place, the sword that she's got in her hand looks very much like Cinder's sword that she summoned when she's fighting Raven in the underground cavern fight sequence there. So I was like, oh, well, we'll probably find out like episode 9, 10. Nope, we're going to go right to 2.
yep. And of course, like a couple of minutes into the episode, he's like, "Oh, okay, there we go."
Kinda answers that.
That answers that. In fact, my notes said, "Woman in the cloak." Oh no, you wanted the woman in front of the statue. Sorry, that
Yes,
was the
you
first
want
note.
to know who the woman from
But
the statue was.
it said, "There's Cinder," and then in parentheses are like, "Girl in cloak, maybe Cinder, sword?" Question mark. And a couple notes later, it goes, "Yep," which is pretty great. But
Well,
yeah,
it's
you
just
had
nice that they didn't like hide that for so long. It's like just giving us the resolution of what happened to Cinder after she fell.
Oh, it's been a while.
Wow, it's been 2
Oh.
episodes.
It's been 2 episodes and time because
Well,
it's been
time for
time
us, yes, but-
and to them. I mean, this is weeks later.
Well, when they're in the snow, it is, but right
Yeah.
after that,
That's true.
During the
That
cut
could be
thing,
her
yeah.
backtrack a bit.
exactly.
Yeah, time period. We don't really have a reference point.
We
yet.
don't know when she went
Yeah.
to them looking for stuff. So
But you had a girl in the statue you wanted to bring up too.
yeah,
from
just because the image is a little smaller on the screen, I couldn't quite make it out. We don't know if it's because it's a statue of Ozpin.
that. Yeah.
Is it Glinda, or is it
Yeah.
we still haven't seen Weiss's mother yet.
Yep.
But again, it's a green field, not really snowy, which is
And-
kind of where.
and it's a blonde woman, right? Now I need to
Yeah.
remind her.
Oh.
It's going to be. I think
Which
it's
we
based on the
we
reveal at
answered
the end of the
in this episode.
episode.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be Salem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we know that,
But at the time, yeah, when we made that note, we hadn't had that reveal.
yes. And we always wondered, I'm like, has Salem always been grim-like?
Yeah.
Has she always been
Yeah.
that
I-
side,
I've
or
always
did
wanted to know
something
more
happen
about
to
Salem.
her?
It's
And
been-
this is what made her this way. And that's
Yeah.
why she's against Ozpin, you know?
And I'm
and this might finally answer some of that, like, okay, why do people have a problem with Ozpin's magic?
Yeah.
Why is that a big deal? Well, maybe that's how Salem became the way she is.
Yeah, this is his
So
secret shame.
maybe magic in the world of Remnant has a severe downside
Yep.
that we just haven't seen yet.
Which, as you know, that's always been one of my big problems with the last season, with the reveal of just everyone being so upset that Osmond gave Raven and Qrow the magic power to turn into birds, and everyone being like,
Yeah.
"Whoa!" I was like,
I mean,
you live in a world with Glinda who levitates stuff around and also does other stuff. You live in a world with a lot of stuff that's basically magic. Why is
Yeah.
this so surprising?
Yeah.
I mean, with this new possible added whatever, this could, maybe that's when Qrow started drinking, is when he got that power. Maybe that's when, wow,
Oh, he's always
Raven
had the bad
started
luck.
being well, but maybe that's when it got bad, and he kind of got out there and left and had like
Yeah, we've never seen them as just Team Stark. Just
Exactly.
How they were when they were younger.
and
So,
and maybe that's when Raven started being anti everything else, because like maybe it affected them more mentally instead of physically and mentally.
true.
It was minor,
True.
but maybe whatever Oz did to Salem, or could have done to Salem, was so drastic.
Well, now the pressure of having to deal with it on a constant basis.
Yeah.
Is enough to make.
I mean,
and
it's
snap
just a
and
theory at this point, really.
Hoping.
But
Yeah, that might be neat. I doubt they're going to explore it in that way, though.
yeah,
It just doesn't seem aligned with what the show does usually. But they could surprise us. Again, this episode was full of fun surprises, mostly on the like, wait, we're already going to learn stuff? Like,
yeah.
hey,
I mean-
we now know what the relic does. We now
Yeah.
we now know we're going to learn about Salem. We now know that I thought we were going to have to wait at least 2 episodes before they confronted Oz about lying to them again. And instead, it was the focus of the episode.
Yeah, and I liked that because you and I, well, I think we all talked about that last time. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly when the conversation was, but you had
Holding back of secrets.
that the whole secrets thing.
Not gonna
and
do
it's-
that anymore. Hold back secrets.
At this
First
point,
episode.
I think we're beyond that. Like, and these characters should be beyond that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he ignored it, as they do in some things in the show, seems backwards for him.
Well, that's what Ruby said. She's like, so that whole faith in humanity thing was just, for show and not actually what you actually gonna, not practicing what you preach kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll say it, but I'm not actually gonna go through with it, which makes Oz less trustworthy.
Yeah.
And then the whole fact that Oscar has to actually stop him.
Yep.
Which was
From-
awesome.
I was like, oh wow, that is an internal struggle that's going to be interesting to deal with.
Also, I have to say,
Yeah, it's-
even though she wasn't the focus in this episode, I feel like the stuff we got from Ruby is finally following up on stuff like they've kind of been just saying that, like, oh, Ruby's matured without super showing it. And I feel
Yeah.
like her questioning Oz in this way and being like willing to go down this path feels so much more what they're going for than anything else
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
Well, and the first step of that was even shown when the rest of the party turned right to
Oh,
Qrow when he
yeah.
took a step and went to
Shing.
say something. They didn't hesitate at all, which I think is fantastic, because Qrow even is the one that I feel like is kind of on the fence.
But even Qrow didn't know about the
No, but-
the relic. He's like, okay, you didn't even trust me, and I've been with you for how long? And again, because Lionheart
Yeah.
does. You think Lionheart's the first one to betray me?
But
you know?
but they all trust Qrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so for them to even turn on him,
Well,
is,
again, because
that
he's
quick.
followed.
Yeah. Well, he blindly follows
Yeah.
Oz.
Well,
So,
I that's why I think it's super interesting, and I hope they follow up on the ramifications of this, that they showed that Qrow was one of the people who was drawn in to show us what Osmond's lying to us
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
He wasn't
Yeah, it was
excluded.
nice that they showed him
and I
individually.
would be curious, and I don't think they would have shown it. I think it makes sense that they wouldn't show it in this one. I would be curious to see if Oz also got drawn in, even though he knows, but Oscar doesn't
yeah.
necessarily. He might know bits and pieces.
Yeah, he only might.
Because he
partial
can't
access.
read Oz's mind, but he does get feelings, and he gets what Oz says in his head. And therefore, Ozpin's going to have to relive this.
Yeah, only what he's currently probably thinking about. He's able to.
And but I think that's going to be an important thing in the next few episodes.
Yeah.
So
or whenever they.
I think it would be
this.
cool if how they did that was they had Oscar drawn in, but while Oscar's drawn into it, Oz can't talk to him.
Mm.
And then it's a confrontation they have to have after the fact.
Yeah, and I think this also answers one of the other clips that we have in the opening scene, where it's Oscar and all these other people in a line. It's going to be the other Oz hosts.
Yeah, the other one.
And that, I think, gets reinforced because that scene is in a pitch white area, so very much like we entered this dream state.
Which is actually where you see Salem, or what we think is Salem, with the statue just before that. So, again,
but
this is what he's seeing.
You know who we didn't see? My favorite character, who has a name. Maria Carlavara? I forget what her last name was. And I have terrible handwriting. The little old lady.
Oh.
From Moana. Who's hard of hearing and can't see without her robot eyes.
It kind of...
But they're working.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're getting at now. Yeah, all right.
But we didn't see her there.
That character...
And as they're casually talking about relics
in front
and magic,
of her, yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, you guys realize she's literally right there, right?
Yeah.
That was my one little, like, I know this is important, but...
Well, they also said they go, we're not going any further without knowing what's going on because we're stranded in the wilderness with...
But I think it's
random person.
It's also a good thing to remember, too, because sometimes, especially as the scope of a show like this gets epic, it's just like, all of our main group, they're children. They are young and they are impulsive, and that's good to remember.
16 or 17 at this point for the oldest.
Yeah, they are crossing over into adulthood and being this sort of impulsive. Like, it's good. I like it a lot.
Which I think that's great. I just had to laugh at that, and I kind of hope she gets to see all this too. Then we have this random person who knows all this history that like doesn't exist to the rest of the world.
Yeah, well, they're kind of in a dire situation. They just there's one more thing. They're not going to go any further without knowing. What's going on?
But then think about this
with them.
Down the road.
Excuse me, little old woman. Can you go like 500 yards off to the right by yourself in the wilderness and while we?
Well, but think about this down the road too. This little old lady now gets to be their grandma when all this is over, and they can go visit her and be like, "Oh, you remember that time that Oz did that thing?" And then she'll just like have cookies or something and hang out with them.
Something strikes me she's not the cookie baking type. I'm just saying.
Just because they're exploding cookies doesn't mean that they're any less awesome.
Oh, God.
Although, I do think she probably is a pumpkin spice old lady. And I don't approve of that.
No. I don't see that.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Chai tea.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Even as much as I like this episode a lot, the one thing that I think felt weird is that little flashback scene when Oz first tells him what the relic does. That felt like it belonged last episode.
It definitely did.
Yeah, it's like they could have gone before the whole train station sequence.
Especially because they didn't even like put up the 3 weeks later or 3 weeks before or something like there's no indication.
Well, with the exception of introducing the other hunters who do a bad job protecting the train, they could have just replaced that flashback sequence with this one, and we would have gotten as much, if not more, information.
Yeah.
The only reason they left it in is because that was right after Cinder's part, is so that they could maybe show that when that part's taking place. Possible. So that if it's been some time since then, if they're on their way to Argus, because it's been 2 weeks since the fall.
Yeah.
Or since the fight at Haven, and they rested for a short amount of time. I don't think it was the full 2 weeks before leaving there, to show that that's when Cinder actually did crawl out. She didn't stay frozen in the water for 2 weeks and then all of a sudden wake up and crawl out.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I can think is why they did that scene right after that. But again, I do agree it could have been on last week's.
It's a good thought, sequencing wise. That could be an indication of when all that takes place.
Plus,
and that
Hazel's
might be
already
why they
looking for them, because who else is a big guy looking for the same people that are,
Oh, yeah, 100%. I just think that could have gotten... The timing of that, if they wanted to drive that home, could have been gotten across without that, because it's a scene change.
Yeah.
it doesn't feel connected in that way.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I know that they tried to do a thing with, Ruby going from one scene in the same motions going into the next scene where she's picking stuff up, but that doesn't always translate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was because it wasn't quite like a match cut. Like if they had really nailed it, it would have been like it was what they were going for, and they just didn't nail it with that.
Yeah, it's not like she picked up the exact same thing that got dropped. In the it's just. But now, what's Emerald going to think now that Cinder's up too? Because Emerald's totally messed up and had to be carried off by Hazel and them the last time because she thinks Cinder's dead. The only reason she was working for Salem at all was because of Cinder.
Exactly.
So, and
it doesn't
Hazel's
seem like
looking
Cinder's
for her,
going looking for her.
right? Because they think she's dead. She went down and faced Raven. The only one that came up was Yang.
Yeah.
So. And like all true magic items, the lamp resized.
It did. I noticed that.
Yep.
Resized to fit the
and it spoke, and it activated when you spoke its true name.
Yeah.
I was super worried about that character when Jin first popped out. I was like, "Oh, is this character going to be super annoying?" Because like like the music cue and the visual design, I was like, "Oh." And then when she was just like not over the top at all in the way she acted, I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah, I think that was a good choice.
If she had been Neon Cat, from Never Miss a Beat.
Well, and I think
that would have been terrible.
And I think that plays better into what they're trying to present Oz as like shtick is.
Well,
he doesn't do silly. As much.
But she's also the relic of knowledge.
Yeah, but he was.
We don't need her being.
Isn't Oz?
Goof.
No, Oz is the wizard. We've heard the God of Light brought up before. That's who created her. I'm trying to
that's
remember.
what even she said. And she couldn't call him that. She called him old man versus. Calling him
exactly.
God.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember.
And she did recognize who he was.
Yeah.
Even in another form, so maybe
it's a supernatural thing. She's a djinn. She knows everything. So
well,
she knows
she's knowledge. She knows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that was a good call. I think that would have been a poor decision on Rooster Teeth's part.
But it is nice to see that, like I said, they're considering Ruby more of the leader than anybody at this point, because even Qrow's following her lead.
Yeah.
More as Oscar knows things, that's why he's there.
Yep.
Because of Osman, but they all look to Ruby. Even like that's what Yang said the last time. She goes, "I'm going to go where Ruby's going."
Yep.
Well, again, Qrow's reaction was very much a culmination of like because he has trusted her in the past, but it was like this really like hand the baton type moment where it's just like, "No, kid, you do what's right.
Yeah.
Whatever you think is right."
Yeah.
They always said the Silver-Eyed Maidens were made to be inspired others,
Yep.
And were, leaders. So makes sense that, he'd trust her, especially after everything she's done.
Yeah.
So far, and she's only, how far along? Her instincts usually tend to be right. More so than following somebody just blindly because he's been around for so long.
Yeah.
So
it's worked out so well for him.
So another editing thing that I noticed with the reveal of Jin, her first shot, and when she says like, I'm Jin, and gives her a little spiel, and they do a little fade to black, I was like, oh, I think that they did that. That's such a commercial break. I think they literally put that edit point in because they know they're doing the Japanese dub where it airs on TV. And it's more constructed like a TV show. Like, it felt like a deliberate choice to me. And, like, I wonder if they did that on purpose for that re-edit.
I think they did, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it was for that re-edit, but I think that's exactly... What I think will happen is when we get it out on a release, like a DVD or whatever, that's going to be where they're gonna fade to black and cut to something else. That's where that's going to be.
Well, when they do the DVDs, they just put all the episodes together to a big long movie.
But when you have that as a cohesive bit, they still do fade to blacks because they're still different episodes. It's how it's always been in all of them. And when you do their like marathon bit and it like cuts out all the intros and outros and just plays.
But that fades to black.
That's going to be the fade.
That fades to black and then goes into the next scene. I don't think they're going to change
the
edit on that.
No, they're going to... Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So that's why
no,
I stop mid show for when it's going to be out on the half-hour mark.
Yeah.
So
no, yeah, you're probably We also met Little Miss Malachite.
Yeah, who was wearing purple.
Yeah, who's all purple.
I don't know why, but that hurt me.
Yeah, no, I get a problem with that. With the thing with color and like being so on the nose with everything in color and then missing this one completely.
And here's Malachite.
I-
and I'm wearing purple.
What? No.
Malachite's a green.
Like they should no.
So help me out. Did I just forget? Have we ever heard mention of her before in anything?
No.
No, this is brand new.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's just a organization thing that.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
We might have heard something about the spider bit, maybe, in passing.
see, because when I saw the spider icon and stuff, I thought like, oh, is she seeking out an organization that's tied to Salem?
Mm.
So one of the things we talked about was she's going after her old contacts before she joined Salem.
Yeah. Well, we know that because even Qrow brings it up in the very first episode of the last season. He's like, there's a huge criminal element that you got to watch out for. The lower you go down on the levels of Mistral, the more trouble you're going to find. So she's on the lower market area.
Yeah.
Of course, she's looking around for symbols and things like that would indicate that even if she's probably had to ask around a few people. I mean, literally, she came crawling out of a cave, took a lady's clothes, and I'm sure there was probably something in between. Where'd she get the money? She said it was somebody's life savings.
Yeah.
I'm sure she probably asked around who's the person to go to for
Information.
that kind of information in town.
Yeah.
All she would have had to do is rough up any low life, and they would have told her.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Cinder's stuff, but right now, I think it was definitely the weakest stuff in the episode.
I think it's more it was just kind of put in to show that she's alive and that she's still hell bent on going after them instead of just going back to
And
Salem.
I think it shows she's weak from that fight. Something happened.
Oh yeah, she couldn't even pull the power out.
Yeah. And I think that they did a decent job at driving that because
She had used the Grim Arm to break through the wall.
to break through the wall, so her powers are significantly weaker than they were before. What I also kind of noted was that the clothing she's now wearing is remarkably close to the lady who found her.
Yeah.
But Cinder is not known for her careful murdering.
I know. I'm pretty sure that lady is like gone, and she just used that so that she would blend in with the people of the area.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Her outfit
Those
is not
clothes
really-
show no sign of being burned or whatever, which is what we would
She
assume.
really all would have had to do was use the Grim Arm to choke the woman out. And
That's
then-
true.
So,
But that's what I'm saying. She's
it's
not
not like she's going to
using.
burn a hole through her. She doesn't have her power right now.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that they're doing a better job showing that she
Yeah.
has to rely more on Salem's abilities that she now has.
Well, her
than
just general
the maiden
fighting. I mean, we've seen her fight before.
Yeah, it's true,
She
yeah.
can fight. That's not a problem. It's just, she was relying.
But
on
there was no blood. There was no. My point is that she did it.
Well, no. I mean, she would have not wanted. I mean, she's stealing the person's clothes. She's not.
I don't
gonna
think that
give
was her
them-
first thought. I think her first thought was, "Fuck
Damn, you saw me. But
Yeah.
still, her outfit's a little,
Yeah.
recognizable.
Yeah. Also, don't forget, even though they did a bad job in the early seasons driving it home, the thing they were setting up with Cinder was that she was like Machiavellian and like was always planning. So like
That's true.
she has the capacity to be more careful and more just
That's true. She just lost that tact over the last few volumes.
Oh well, she
Well,
became focused.
on revenge.
Ruby.
Yeah.
Has to
Yeah.
be Ruby. That's why she's not even going back to Salem. Because
Yeah.
one, Salem's not going to be happy she failed, and two, if she's going to go back, she's going to go back after she's taken out
Yeah.
that and gotten the relic, so maybe she won't get killed.
Yeah.
She's not stupid. So.
But yeah, we got.
She's definitely not stupid.
While we're still on the Cinder stuff, though, I did have to laugh at the scene when she right before she breaks through with her grim arm, where like it's dark, and then all of a sudden you hear a rock fall and a little bit of light comes through, and she looks up and it's this giant ass crack in the wall.
Yeah, I had a comment about that too. I'm like, oh, this seems real secure for the relic that of like some kind of all powerful thing that she's supposed to be like impenetrable.
But again, there was a gigantic Titanic battle between
But
the
again-
two maidens in the same
Yeah,
but on
confined
that-
area.
But on that note, it's supposed to be able to withstand that stuff, so nobody can get it.
See,
Brought down half the mountain during the fight.
See, I'm not even on that one. I'm just saying that the sound design and the visual cues before we saw the crack in the wall
Oh,
did not match how big the crack was when we saw a shot.
yeah, there's that too. Yeah,
Well, it wasn't big enough for her to crawl through. It was just,
yeah,
a crack in the wall. It was Goonies. the first Goonies, and then they throw the dynamite in there, and then it actually becomes a hole in the wall. That's what I got from that. Was just like that.
I think it was a perspective issue.
Yeah,
I think she was so close to it, it seemed bigger because it was in her face.
Yeah.
And she was punching it. However, I think that didn't get portrayed well at all. I agree with you.
No.
Yeah, because it looked
But I
like it
think
was like
that's what they're
12
going
feet
for.
tall.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she was able to crawl. You could be able to
Like
go
slide
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
I did, though, speaking of the fight, too, I love there was a subtle bit of animation, which RWBY doesn't do a whole lot. It usually does big, broad stroke animation. But the subtle animation on Yang, when they bring up not having the Spring Maiden to lock it back up,
Mm.
like, it was very nice and, like, very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just, like, this slight, like, concerned and worried that, like, people are going to ask her about it look.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot more facial and finite detail I've been noticing in the characters' faces. Again, when I rewatched it on a larger screen and was able to see it a little bit better, there's a lot more little things I noticed differently. Even just, the flushing of faces during certain emotional things, like when she's laughing and happy, when she's got the little gift shop thing. There's more color underneath the eyes, and then it fades back to just, solid flush. Even when they get angry, I've noticed, the faces tint in color just like you would if you were actually really angry. So, other than just red, they actually just darken up the skin tones.
Yeah, it's a long way from the first season where everyone was just pasty white. And, like, you're like, if they were wearing white clothes, you were just like, Weiss's clothes and skin tone were, like, the exact same color in the first season.
Yeah, it's. I actually kind of like going back to that a little bit every now and then. Like, not to watch it, just to look at little, like, screenshots or posters or whatever, like, that they made.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it's, like, so different.
Well, I was talking when I was watching with my nephew last night. We were talking about it in another room, and my mother came walking through, and she's like, "What are you guys still talking about?" I'm like, "This." She's like, "Well, what is this?" I'm like, "This is first season. Here you go. Watch this. This is what we're watching now. We're comparing the differences." Oh yeah, no, they're drastic, completely drastic from where they go. I go, yeah, and it's only been 6. This is the 6th volume that's come out, so I mean, it hasn't been very long.
Yeah, and their volumes aren't terribly
because
spread
it was
apart.
2014 Poser, I believe, was the original
Something like
one
that.
they were using for the animation. So plus budget.
Yeah, budget really helps. It's amazing what some money can do.
Budget, merchandising, merchandising, where the real money from the show was made.
I don't know that this is the show that makes a lot of money on merchandise. I mean, they definitely make some.
Have you been to FYE?
That's true, yeah. I think it's definitely gone up. Definitely gone up. I don't think that's where their budget's coming
T-shirts,
from
pop
yet.
figures.
Flamethrowers.
They're definitely getting a
Sides.
decent budget from that, though, because there are people who don't even like the show, though, who are just like, yeah, but I'll buy your Animu Girl products. Thank you very much.
That's true, yeah.
Very true.
Cool. All right, so yeah, my next note is Go Ruby. That's when she starts being like, well, anti Oz, like where she's
Ruby,
just like,
don't.
no, I
Yeah.
want to know,
Yeah.
and she like takes the relic somehow, which I like that we didn't see her do it.
Well, I don't think
Because she didn't think she found it. Because I just before that scene happened, I was like, so who has the relic in my head? I'm like thinking to myself, because he doesn't have it.
Yeah, when he was walking with the old woman, he didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
and
they did the shot of it by the like down train car that was off to the side, and so.
But nobody went and picked it up.
But nobody went and picked it up, so that way, since the entire scene where they were confronting Oz, Ruby wasn't in that scene at all, and so that's very believable that then she would then have the relic.
Yeah. And I like that they didn't show that. I like that wasn't like a draw that we needed to be there as a viewer to see that this happened. Like
he's had it on
it's
him,
story
like, since the start of it. But as soon as he gets angry and starts talking about the past and things he did wrong, he completely forgot all about it.
Yeah.
Until he's like, wait, it's not there.
Well, and Ruby's had kind of a history of kind of needing to lead the viewers to see things like that we just don't super need to see because we're educated viewers. We can understand how things work.
But she's also in the right
But
place
this
at
is-
the right time for a lot of situations. So being the one to have it at that time,
Yeah.
while he's aggravated and doesn't want to talk about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's kind of one of those situations.
Well,
I mean,
I think
she just happened to be in the dust shop that was getting robbed at the
Yeah.
beginning of the thing, and happened to,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah,
But
I
what-
think
I'm
Andrew,
just
Andrew's
talking,
just talking about the show.
visually. The
Like the show
yeah,
does
I'm
a
just
lot
talking
of
how they've
hand-holding
done it.
for the
Yeah.
viewers
Yeah.
early on, especially.
And less story reason, but more like how they produce it and how they present their story. I think that they kind of they feel the need to be like, no, you guys need to see this. Like, no, we don't. We understand how they walk from one room to another. They can just walk in the door. We don't need to travel with them every step across the room.
They do
and
their
then, like,
thing. But again, I think the reason that they
Yeah.
use that is because RWBY is the one that.
yes, yeah, no, I think that that's 100% right.
So-
Yeah. And yeah, her little rebellion thing is what that note is about. And then
I do have to say it's very confusing because Andrew started talking about RWBY as the show, and then Scott took it as RWBY the character.
RWBY the character, yeah, you had a moment about that too, where you did it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing? Oh, right, the show,
Because they're the same name.
Yeah.
because
yeah.
they want to make it easy.
And yes, that does get confusing.
Mm.
Beginning of Volume 3.
Yeah,
Talking to Summer Roses.
yeah. And yeah, the last note I have here is once we get into the dream state, I'm gonna call it for now
Yeah.
until we get another name for it.
The playback.
Yeah. Is it just me, or did that tower kind of look like Beacon
Vale?
Academy? Or yeah, the Academy.
Yeah.
Which I think is super neat and interesting.
That's what I thought it was at first. I thought it was like before it got all built up
Yeah.
with the town around it. I thought that was because they built the towns usually
Yeah.
tend to, gravitate towards where the academies were because that's where protection was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like I said, it looked a lot like that. So I'm wondering if that is.
I mean, we don't know yet,
Yeah.
obviously,
No,
but that's definitely what I'm thinking.
Well,
But, I mean,
I feel like
that's
if it's
one of
not,
the-
it's the model that they use to build the school
Exactly.
off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also is totally fine and believable. I think that's
Yeah, because Oz
Fine
would,
either way.
Oz would, if Oz like lived here before or worked here before, whatever his relationship to that place is, the
Yeah.
fact that he would want to replicate it where he is going to be primarily based is
Yeah.
interesting.
makes total sense. Yeah. It's interesting, makes sense. It's something he likes. He might maybe just likes that aesthetic.
or maybe depending on how this flashback goes, maybe he built it like that as a reminder to himself.
That was actually my next thought that I was going to mention, and it's definitely a possibility, especially given what they do.
Well, that and also, I mean, it is the place where
This
he
shit happened.
Well, no, I mean that's his place where he's always been. He's
Yeah.
always become the headmaster of
Yeah.
that place because maybe that's where he's been since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that's his home. It's always that's where he feels he should be. But that could also be the reason he keeps,
Yeah.
failing all
Yeah.
this time. And maybe this is the reason. Maybe Oscar's finally the one that
Yeah.
is now going to be the one that this whole team is going to be the one that breaks him of his habit that keeps resetting everything and why he keeps failing each
Yeah.
and every single time.
It's
This isn't going to be the first time he's gone up against Salem. He's already said it. Those other people have betrayed him while they've been working toward this. I think it's the first time they've ever tried to take her out. So
it's possible.
Yeah.
if that's his
Definitely
place
possible.
that he's most secure in and he knows the best, and he's going to have everything work out from there.
Yeah.
And they've never covered in World of Remnant like which city was first
Yeah.
or where it all started or anything. They've only started saying that they created different academies that
I
they
wonder if
spread
he-
the ones out from. But they would have had to have a starting place.
I wonder if this whole thing, the whole story, the whole issue with hunters and huntresses and Grimm and all that, I wonder if that is his secret. I wonder if he's the reason they're a Grimm.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if, like, it's... Well, no, because the Grimm were there before, if you follow the God of Light story, but again, that was told to him by... Told to Qrow by him.
Exactly.
So, again, it could be manipulated.
That was my thought. Like, maybe because that would help account for Salem being the way she is now,
Yeah.
and having the ability to create Grimm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just go real simple. Maybe she died and he tried to bring her back, and that's what created this. And that's real basic, but I don't think it's that one. But
Well, I have a feeling we're going to find out right in the next
Yeah,
week when it goes, because
next
as
couple.
it seems, they're not holding anything back at this point.
which I think is needed.
Yeah, because again, when you have 2 seasons of just
Yeah.
travel and trying to get everything back together,
Yeah.
That's why I think they fell off the rails, because the first 2 seasons, this to this, this to this. There was a beginning and an end, and it went right along.
Yep.
You know,
And third season was just one thing after another.
Yeah, third it was the tournament from learning information all the way up to the end.
And then
that's why a lot of people like 3 is one of the better ones, other than the opening. Sorry, it's the one opening that bothers me.
I mean, if I'm gonna be fair, I'm not super into any of the season openings. Like, they all feel so just like, oh, we are anime fans to me. Which, again, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it just feels like they just feel so on the nose to me that it never works for me.
Well, that's the reason all the anime openings are like all the other anime openings.
Yeah.
It's what everybody's,
I mean, to be fair,
now.
I also, a lot of animes that I like a lot, I also am like, but this goddamn opening. Like, it's just not my favorite thing.
Yeah. I do like that
everybody.
they have stayed with the same people for the opening, and that they're able to cover the different variations of the type of music they've done.
Yep.
You know, like I said, 1 through 3 are vastly different musically.
Yeah.
And then even now, 4 and 5, and then now 6, all have a different style of, music to them. But the person who's singing is Casey.
I forget her name.
It's Jeff Williams and Casey. I can't
Abrams?
remember her name, unfortunately.
No, not Abrams. Why am I thinking Abrams?
I don't know.
That name pops to my
But
head.
they've been able to. You can actually,
Casey
hear the
Abrams
growth
is
in
a American Idol guy who does postmodern jukebox stuff. That's why you're thinking of that name. I do have to say, though, for this opening, and it really struck me with this episode, the one thing I like a lot about this opening is the final shot. I like that the big hero shot is Weiss helping RWBY up off the ground, and RWBY being helped but like still being defiant to whatever the struggle is.
Yeah.
And that was when they went into the knowledge room. Weiss is the first name she calls out and then Yang's the second voice she calls out.
And Blake called out Yang first. I said, as soon as you said that, I was like, it's a little weird, some of the names they've called out.
Yeah.
Like the people that they're most connected to or most trying to connect to are the people they're searching for. And I just think it's a nice little touch.
Yeah. Well, it always used to be Yang. She always called out Yang. Like running through the forest at the beginning. Like, she's always depended on her sister. Now she depends on Weiss. Even though they've only recently just gotten back together as a team, she calls for Weiss first.
Well, her and Weiss, I mean, when you think about their history, they've overcome so much as a friendship.
But also, they were the initial team up.
Yeah.
So they're initial teammates.
And, I mean, her and Yang, at the end of the day, they're still sisters, and they still get each other's back, and Yang has had to overcome her own things, and RWBY has accepted that and moved on.
But the first one she's either looking for to find out where she is or to have that comfort was Weiss. I just thought that was an interesting...
Well, and Blake is searching for that in
it's
Yang.
because you said when she's helping her up on the train at the end of that sequence, it's like Weiss is the one holding her up.
Yep.
That's why I was like, oh, that's triggered that.
It's a good
thought,
touch.
So.
Yeah, I like the Yang one though, with having her call Blake. Part of me is like,
no, other way around. Blake was calling for Yang.
Did Yang?
I forget who Yang was calling for.
I think
Yang called RWBY.
I think Yang did call RWBY, but I think she did also call for Blake
she did, but RWBY came first.
Because I remember thinking I was just like, I don't know if this feels like a character moment so to me as them like, because Yang x Blake, like I don't see a lot of internet RWBY stuff, but I exist on the internet, so I've seen some.
Yeah.
The internet is very into Yang and Blake being a couple. So I was just like, is this just like baiting the fans or?
Yeah, well, they hinted at White Rose since the first episode where they did the whole little spiral trail and it was white frosted petals after they went through the tunnel.
Which only, again, feeds into their strengthened bond, if you will.
Yeah. Again, both of them are initial teammate setups when they went through the forest the first time, so they're supposed to be...
Hell, Bumblebee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yellow and black.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found that's an interesting point, and I found that interesting as well. I need more information before I have an official opinion about this, but I don't really need as they like their fairy tale analogies in the show, I don't really need a Princess in the Tower analogy mixed in too, which is what I got that vibe for a brief moment when they're like, a long time ago there was There was
It's the Once Upon a Time story. There was a princess in a castle.
Yeah, I don't need that mixed in with this.
Yeah, but they've said that. They've done that. It's that this whole thing is a fairy tale.
I know, but there's so many.
Now it's
and
going to bother you? 6 seasons in, that's going to bother you?
It's going to
now?
bother me because they've been leaning so into the more color side of it and Wizard of Oz and everything else, and now suddenly they're shifting to this I'm comfortable with the Oz analogies that they've been doing. I'm very comfortable with that. But now they're shifting, and I don't like
but
change.
That's individual character development versus overall story arc.
I don't like change. They're shifting their focus.
Since season 3, it's been, what's your favorite fairy tale? That's what this whole thing is about. This eventually will become a fairy tale in this world.
I know.
The whole thing is about fairy tales.
It's okay, Andrew. I mean, the fairy tale aspect of it too has always been so surface level to me that I've always been kind of annoyed by it. Like it's obviously one of the things they're going for, but like it's just like,
and I don't mind it overall.
Unfortunately, I have spent a lot of time studying fairy tales, so the fact that it is just this surface level reading just bugs me.
Yeah,
they could have called it fairy tale, but it was already taken.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
by a show, and again, I don't say this lightly, is way worse than RWBY.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that, but I'm very pleased.
Yeah.
Especially because I've sat through quite a bit of that one, or at least forever ago I did, and wow, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, we don't have.
That's a whole different podcast or video cast, whatever we want to call it now. I don't know.
One small subtle thing that I also enjoyed too on the in the flashback sequence, and it was very small. I like that it was Jean who was the one who first asked Oz, "What's this relic do?"
Yeah,
because again, it just shows how far he's come, and how far because he's the one who's matured him and RWBY are the ones who have had to mature the most because of their positions and the roles they take.
Yep. Well, and I think to your point, it shows his leadership. He's actively trying to take part in the conversation instead of just kind of being there and observing.
Yeah, instead of being the doted-on sidekick, he was he's stuck in the tree. He wants to be the one that
he's driving the ship now.
Yeah,
or that's what he's trying to do.
No,
I think that's important.
I mean, his final position is going to be RWBY's in charge. He's her lieutenant.
Yeah.
He's going to be RWBY will be the Oz, and he'll be the Ironwood. Kind of covering all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's now going back to the trailer. You see, Jean throw Oz right into the wall there, inside Oscar. I have a feeling this is probably what's gonna.
Yeah.
You're the reason. Kind of.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
It's been you this whole time that's been the reason all this everybody's had to suffer.
Yeah, especially because I bet he's gonna bring up Pyrrha about that.
Oh yeah.
And he should. I think that would be a very strong bit for him.
Why he is the way he is now.
Yeah, that has become
it was the final nail in the coffin to kind of push him over the
that's become a
straw to push him into that role.
Yeah, the defining moment.
I have to be now because now she's gone.
Yeah, it's the defining moment in his.
It's what she wanted me to be.
Yeah,
she knew I could be this. I have to fulfill it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall the 4th season was mostly kind of trash and wasted a lot of time, but one of the best scenes in the show is his training thing where he's training with the video of Pyrrha. I was just like, oh, that is good. That's a great character moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the fact that RWBY got to see all that too is, again, she's the one who observes every single thing that's happened to every single one of her team.
Yep.
And there's a 4-man team, but she considers everybody part of her, her family, basically. They're all family to her. So anything that happens to anyone, she feels for. And that's the thing. She has the biggest heart of the group.
Yeah.
She's kind of the mother.
Yeah.
Little sister to everybody else. She feels the motherish to everybody else because she has to make sure everybody's taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I follow where you're going with that. Sorry. Yeah. I think we, unless Bill, you have anything else, or Scott, you have anything else?
No, I
I think
again, we've covered everything.
Yeah.
obviously Jin's a nod to Genie. It's blue
Yeah,
and gold.
it's really on the nose. And
Jin in a lamp. It's instead of Genie in a lamp, it's a Jin.
I mean, literally, the mythological creature that genies are based on is jinns. So,
Jin.
Yeah.
like, it's
Jins are the ones that aren't imprisoned, I believe, though, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I could be wrong. That section of mythology is not my strong suit.
Same. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the less subtle. It's not even a reference. It is a literal 1-to-1 reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. I'm sure that once we have context from the next episode, we will probably end up having more to say about some stuff in this one.
Yeah. I mean, and that's expected to happen.
Yeah. Well, again, we went back to the first episode in this one, so it just makes sense.
Yep.
More stuff's just going to unfold, and it's going to just
Yeah.
reveal what's going on. Again, we still have no idea who the old woman is, other than we think that she's a Silveride or a former Silveride.
Possibly, especially now knowing she literally is blind.
Yeah, without her.
Without her cybernetic eyes. She's still my favorite character now in the entire show.
Yeah, so.
And
she is the real hero. I guarantee it.
the real
She's going to be the one to
protagonist.
take down Salem.
Introduced in the 6th volume, the real protagonist finally shows up.
Yep. This is all just build up. What's going to happen is they're going to help her defeat Salem and put everything right in the world.
Classic hero's journey.
Yep. But in order to understand her, we need to understand the people who help her. So.
Yeah, I think the only thing I have to say to wrap up this episode is that for the first time since I started watching it as it came out, I am actually excited for the next episode. Like, actually,
Yeah.
just like,
Saturday.
oh, I
Yeah.
cannot wait.
Yeah. And I hope they keep their pace.
Yeah.
I think this they've done a great job so far. I think this is right where they should be in this volume.
And it hasn't even been that much time. It's only been 30 minutes off of them getting
Yeah.
off the train, falling off the track.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like they've even gone that far, but the story is...
Yep.
Without being just a bunch of
Yep.
fluff. Or filler.
And I think at this point in their overall story, we're beyond filler.
Yeah.
Like they're okay. I get it. It's a show. There's going to be some.
Well, that's why they've always introduced new characters and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But, and again, we did get a new introduction to a character, but I have a feeling she's a piece of the puzzle that's already been established.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get... Yeah, we're going to get more because we're going to a new place.
Yeah.
But overall, that should not be filler. That's still new information.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling she's probably, like I said, she's probably a Silveride warrior at one point. She probably knows how to use the abilities, and she's probably going to teach RWBY how to use them. That's probably going to be her role.
Yeah.
In this show, that's where I'm seeing her character going. Especially, like I said, where we've seen it go through the woman's eyes, and then RWBY's on the other side and goes into her eye.
Yeah.
It's really kind of
very mentor
head on the nail kind of thing, and I think
kind of
you need another person who's been down that to know what you can do.
Yeah.
So,
and
if
that would
she
be
is
nice
that person,
to have.
she's been in that kind of situation before where she's had to fight this kind of...
Yeah. It'd be nice to have some more information about that, too. We haven't...
Yeah.
I mean, that's been mentioned since...
She could have fought the other groups of Salem's organization. They said that they've dealt with their kind before. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's probably... So there's the tie-in. They don't even have to really...
Yeah.
Do too much with that.
Yeah.
So, again, we just need to see
where it goes.
Dr. Watts, where's Adam? It's in Salem with Salem soon. That's pretty much the only side on the other side. We know where everybody else is.
Yeah.
We know Hazel's with the other two looking for them. We know Cinder's looking for them, so it's just... We don't know where Watts is. Oh, Tyrion.
Yeah.
Tyrion's probably still back there, though, with Salem, because Watts was supposed to go make him a new tail.
That's probably where they are.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Whole show's done.
Yep.
Cool. Last episode.
Yep,
Thank you
that
guys
was
for
it. We're
watching.
Broke the code.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, even in the trailer that or not, actually, it wasn't in this trailer. It was one we haven't discussed it. You guys probably haven't seen, so never mind. I won't talk about it until it happens.
Okay,
Well,
bye.
Thank you all for watching. You can check us out, obviously, on this YouTube channel that this is being posted on. We, I believe, are posting on Saturdays at noon. That is our new time, approximately, or at least Saturdays.
Saturdays in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You can also
like, subscribe, ring that bell, all the YouTube stuff. Y'all know it.
and yeah, social networks at Uncle Games, or 10 Rabbit Bears for me.
Hit the button.
Yeah. Okay. Anywho, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.